Citizens of Israel, today we mark one of our tremendous achievements in the War of Independence, equal to all our captives, the living and the fallen alike. This is a central goal, a goal we have adhered to all along, throughout the 2 years that have passed since the beginning of the war. I promised the families of the hostages, and I promised you, citizens of Israel, that we would bring everyone back without exception. We promised, and we are delivering. I remind you that there were those who said at the beginning of the war, well, we need to get used to the idea that we won't be able to bring back. We won't be able to bring back even one hostage alive. I thought differently and acted differently. I believe that if we applied heavy military pressure on Hamas, combined with heavy diplomatic pressure, we could indeed bring back all our captives. And that's exactly what we did. But I also tell you, to put it mildly, it was not easy. I had to withstand tremendous pressures, both from home and abroad. Of pressures not to enter Rafah, pressures not to seize the Philadelphia route, pressures not to operate in other arenas, pressures to stop the war and withdraw from the Strip. When Hamas, Hezbollah, the Assad regime, and Iran are all at the peak of their power, but I firmly rejected all these pressures because I had one and only consideration in mind, the security of Israel. And that means achieving the war objectives, including the release of the hostages, removing the nuclear and ballistic threat from Iran, which endangered our existence here, and breaking the Iranian axis, of which Hamas is a central part. Despite all the pressures I mentioned, we continued to fight in Gaza and throughout the entire region. Until President Trump entered the White House, we returned to Israel 158 hostages, of which 117 were alive. Some of the hostages were released in daring, heroic operations by our forces, which you remember and know, and we bow our heads to the fallen. After President Trump entered the White House, we brought home another 49 hostages, both living and deceased, 10 of them in additional daring operations by our forces. But still, the hardest challenge remains to bring home all the remaining hostages, 20 living hostages and 28 deceased hostages. And do you remember? Analyst after analyst, evening after evening, day after day, they explained to us, there is no way on earth to bring back the hostages without surrendering to the main demand of Hamas, that the IDF completely withdraws from the Strip, including from the perimeter, including from the Philadelphia route, including from the controlling areas, with all that implies. Later, I thought differently and acted differently. I knew that if we entered with force into the last stronghold remaining in the hands of Hamas, the city of Gaza, and if we destroyed all its power centers there, Hamas would want to save its rule. I also thought that if we add to our massive military pressure, a massive political pressure from our great friend President Trump, this powerful combination will cause Hamas to return all our captives while the Israel Defense Forces remain deep inside the Strip and hold all the controlling points in it. And this is what is happening. In this way, we are gripping Hamas. We are gripping it from all sides in preparation for the next stages of the plan, in which Hamas will be dismantled from its headquarters and Gaza will be demilitarized. If this can be achieved the easy way, great. And if not, it will be achieved the hard way. I want to clarify in the sharpest and clearest way. Anyone who says that this hostage deal was always on the table is simply not telling the truth. Hamas never agreed to release all our hostages while we remain deep inside the Strip. Hamas agreed to the deal only when it felt the sword on its neck, and it is still on its neck. Hamas agreed to the deal only after the Trump plan, which I agreed upon with the president in Washington, isolated it internationally in an unprecedented way. At the current stage of the plan, we are focused on the release of our hostages. And I must tell you that in my heartbreaking meetings with the families of the hostages over the past 2 years, my wife and I shed tears. It cannot be otherwise. The heart breaks, the heart goes out to them. I promise them, the relatives of the hostages, I will not give up on anyone, and I will not give up on anyone. Indeed, all the captives will return to us. In the coming days, with God's help, we will bring everyone.
Alongside the immense joy of their return,
They will face a task. Welcome home, welcome family, in its great pain. And we wish our dear war wounded, those injured in body and soul, a complete recovery. I want to thank President Trump for his global leadership and his tireless efforts in formulating this plan to bring back our captives. Here too, he once again proved his great friendship to our people, to our country. I thank President Trump's representatives, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, who worked hard to reach the agreement for the release of the hostages. And on our side, very warm thanks to the head of our negotiation team, Minister Ron Dermer, and to the entire negotiation team. They did dedicated and creative work to bring us to this point. Citizens of Israel, 2 years ago, the Simchat Torah holiday turned into a day of national mourning. Simchat Torah will become, with God's help, a day of national joy. Joy for the return of all our kidnapped brothers and sisters. The name of the operation, Returning to Their Border, is taken from the promise to our matriarch Rachel in the book of Jeremiah. And the children shall return to their border, and sons and daughters shall return to their border. 2 years ago, we emerged from dire straits and waged a fierce battle against our enemies. Thanks to your resilience and determination, citizens of Israel, we withstood difficult tests, achieved great victories that are changing the face of the Middle East. But as the Chief of Staff said, the campaign is not yet over. We still face great challenges, but also opportunities.